Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Reds here, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up on today's show, I had so many people send me this report. I don't even know what to call it. From CTESPN. Can I get a few FABs down below? We'll discuss what the hell he's talking about. Then there are some conflicting reports out there on Michael Penix Jr., so we'll kind of take a deep dive into that. The Raiders are on top of meeting with Penix, also meeting with another quarterback, and then I had a really interesting buddy reach out to me, tell me some juicy rumors around the Raiders and them potentially making a trade with the Miami Dolphins. So all of that is coming up here on today's show. If you don't know what the heck the CTESPN network is, you got to look it up on Twitter to believe it with your own eyes, because it's one hell of a Twitter banner, I'll tell you that. And according to them, look at this. The Raiders are in talks with the Patriots to trade down for the number 3 pick. I'm making this because I don't know if people know that this is Antonio Brown. And with the amount of people that messaged me this today, they were like, Mitch, I don't know if you saw this. I had one person on Twitter say, Mitch, I don't know if you saw the Connecticut ESPN tweeted out this. Like, this is not Connecticut. This is not ESPN. This is Antonio Brown. And I'm not for a second going to believe AB in anything that guy has to say. I will admit he throws a bunch of shit out there and sees what sticks, because there's a lot of stuff going on right now around the NFL. Like, do I know that the Patriots could potentially be looking to trade back? Yes, we talked about it before. We're about to talk about it again. Do I know that the Raiders love Jayden Daniels? Yes, all of that is 100% true. But I don't want to see people sending me CTESPN shit, because does anybody believe Antonio Brown? Do you? I really, really hope you don't, because he hasn't been the most reliable person. But I do think that in case you missed the latest going on around New England and some of the stuff going down with the Patriots, this is what Gerard Mayo had to say about potentially trading back from pick number 3. Like, do I think Antonio Brown has sources? No. Do I think maybe he talks to still some players in the NFL? Yes. Doesn't mean that he's that well connected. But this is what Mayo said. Look, we sit at a very enviable spot at number 3 where we can take someone, or if someone offers a bag, we should say, you know, a lot of first-round picks. We definitely have to talk about those things. The reason why I put that one on here is because one of the things the Raiders are trying to do is acquire more first-round picks. And if that's what they think that they're trying to do, to go up and make a deal, then there might be a little bit of truth to the Raiders trying to trade up to number 3, and that the Patriots are listening to trade back. One of the other things, though, that Mayo said, because it does take 2 to tango, we know LV's trying to move up to get Jayden. But will another team be willing to trade back? Mayo said, when I first started watching these guys, it was a 3-man race. And now as you continue to go to the combine or the pro days and bringing guys in on the 30 visits, having time to spend with those guys to really get to know what makes them tick. It's about 5 guys, honestly, that could come in and be a solid quarterback in the future. The reason why that's important is because what happens if they look at other quarterbacks in the draft and they go, my guy's not available at 3. Well, now there's 5 other quarterbacks that I like. Not, Caleb Williams gone. One of the other top quarterbacks will be gone at number 2. So that means 3 other QBs that Mayo was literally saying, like, yeah, I'm okay rolling with this upcoming season. Mayo also said this to Patriots fans. I understand the frustration and expectations built over the last 20 years, but we are trying to build this thing the right way for the long term. So when you're trying to build something the right way for the long term, Mayo said it himself that, and I want you guys to see what he has to say here, is he's trying to accumulate more picks. That's not what I'm saying. That's what Mayo said. I know everyone likes to think they have the special formula to picking players, but honestly, the guaranteed way to win is to accumulate more picks. So if we don't feel convicted at number 3, we are willing to trade back as well. So I just thought it was something to throw in there. I know what Antonio Brown put out there, and I don't want people to look at CTESPN and think like, all right, that's a credible source. However, I do want to at least fill people in on some of the background stories that are going on right now, because Ian Rapoport even said earlier this week that the Raiders are one of the teams that are absolutely trying to trade up to go get a quarterback. RapSheet also said the Vikings at number 11, which is important, and I'll explain that why here in a little bit. The Broncos at number 12 are all trying to move up. It is not a secret that AP wants Telsco to go up and get his guy in Jayden. The question is always going to be, how do the Raiders do that? And the reason why I'm talking about both is because the final thing that we talk about, this potential trade that AP and Telsco are trying to cook up, if these teams are looking for more first-round picks, well, then you got to be able to compete with some of those other teams. You got to be able to compete with a Minnesota Vikings team that has 2 first-round picks this year. That's exactly what the Raiders are trying to do. So I throw out a lot of different trade ideas that are sometimes mine, sometimes people from USA Today. So this one, I did not make it. Read the title, CBS Sports trade idea. Would you do this? If this is what it cost the Raiders to move up and go get Jayden Daniels, would you do it? Would you give up 3 first-round picks and a 3rd-round pick, which is number 77 overall? Tell me right now. Give me a yes. Give me a no. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So scroll on down. You're about to get hit with the YouTube ad break. And let me know, would you make this trade if it meant the Raiders getting Jayden Daniels? I am all in on Jayden at this point, and I don't believe that he would fail with Antonio Pierce. I have faith in this Raiders offense led by Jayden Daniels, who I do think is a leader of men. On top of that, when Antonio Pierce speaks, I listen. You add all of those things together on top of a quarterback that is unbelievably athletic, and he's gotten better time and time and time again. I am putting faith into Jayden Daniels. I am putting faith into this Raiders team. I am putting faith into the idea of we need a franchise quarterback. I believe that we are a quarterback away from not only being a playoff contender. If Jayden can turn into be a legit top 10 quarterback, a legit top 5 quarterback with this defense, with our coaching staff on the defensive side of the football, I'll say it. We could be a Super Bowl caliber team if Jayden really, really hits. Coming up next here on the show, I got a conflicting Michael Penix Jr. report, which I've seen now some updates since I've started making this show, and I'll kind of hit on that, but it's not too often that Ian Rapoport is wrong, and based off of some reports that came out today, I think RapSheet was wrong in terms of some stuff that he put out there on Michael Penix Jr. I'll tell you what that is in just a minute, but hey, if you haven't already heard about Game Time, I do want you guys to listen up here. If there is an app that makes buying tickets easier for you, I do think it's important. And I know that a lot of people that watch this show, which it is what it is, right? Some of y'all are a little bit older, like my dad, and aren't the best with technology. If my dad can take less than 5 minutes to get a ticket to a sporting event, I promise you that you can get a ticket in less than 5 minutes, because I do think buying tickets to your favorite events, like, it shouldn't be stressful. It should be easy, and I want you to be able to snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, theater, and events near you. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. So if you don't know how to spell Chat Sports, it's CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. I know that there are needs and then there are wants. I am trying to save up for a house. I am trying to save up for a wedding. I'm trying to save up to get my dog Chuck into Barkley. All of those are needs. Game Time tickets, that is a want. But I also want to be able to find cheap tickets, and I don't want the stress when I do it. If you're like me, go down to the comments, go down to the description of today's show, and click on that link. We got you covered. All right, let's get into some of these conflicting reports now around Michael Penix Jr., because today, Jordan Schultz said the Vikings flew out their whole staff for a private workout with Michael Penix Jr. in Seattle, including head coach Kevin O'Connell, GM Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, sources say. Then he also said that I'm told Penix has a top 30 visit with the Raiders today, who currently hold the number 13 pick. The reason why that there are some conflicting reports is Albert Breer also doubled down on this and said essentially that the Raiders are meeting with Penix today, and Bo Nix has a top 30 visit with the Silver and Black tomorrow, but Breer and Schultz seem to be on the same page, where Ian Rapoport reported yesterday, you notice the dates down below, April 3rd, that the Raiders are hosting Penix today on a top 30 visit. So, again, I don't know if RapSheet misses all that often. Maybe he just heard that they're going to end up doing it and assumed that it was going to be today. I do know that Penix was with the Denver Broncos on Tuesday. Sounds like he went to Washington yesterday, or not Washington, Seattle, yesterday, and now he's going to be meeting with the Silver and Black. It's also been reported, I've also talked about on the show, that it does sound like the Raiders are going to be meeting with another quarterback, maybe other prospects on Friday to have more private meetings. But what I want people to look at here is, because I'm a sucker for where there's smoke, there's fire, right? I've said it 100 times on this show. When you look at the latest Michael Penix odds, and you can believe what beat reporters say, you can believe what national media guys say, I also always watch Vegas. Where's the money going? Because Vegas a lot of times knows. Now, the last time that these odds were updated was April 2nd. Vikings at plus 275, Raiders at plus 350. Those are realistically the only teams that I care about. And the reason why that I care about those two teams is because the Minnesota Vikings made a deal with the Houston Texans to get that 23rd overall pick. So now they have pick 11. They have pick 23. Remember, Gerard Mayo, earlier in the show I was talking about, said if we can get multiple first-round picks, a bag, could it be easier for the Raiders to trade up? What happens if the Raiders heard a rumor that Minnesota's a team that's trying to move up to 3 and they have multiple first-round picks? If I'm Las Vegas, I go, cool. If I want Jayden Daniels, I'm going to have to figure out a way to get another first-round pick, or maybe I'll just have a fallback plan and try to get a guy like Michael Penix Jr., but I might have to get a pick before the Vikings are picking at 23. So is Penix meeting with the Raiders? Yes. Rapoport said on April 3rd. It seems like it is going to end up being today. It's also been put out there by Vincent Bonsignore that the Raiders are going to be meeting with Penix today. But I'll say this, plan A has always been and always will be, how can the Raiders get Jayden Daniels? And based on the story that I heard today, based on Vegas odds, based on Gerard Mayo, there's no doubt in my mind that my buddy, which we'll talk about here in a second, is telling me some real-life information that Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco are trying to make a big-time splash, because we talk about all the time, trading up, getting into the top 3, Jayden Daniels. Now a lot of smoke is starting to build up around Penix stock, continue to rise and rise and rise. Well, what if the Raiders are trying to just be prepared if they miss on Jayden, maybe still want to pick somebody at 13, or could you still try to get Penix early on in round 1? Because coming up here on the show, I am telling you, according to a source close to me, that the Raiders tried to trade up with the Miami Dolphins. So I had a text message today from one of my good friends, and I'm talking like this guy invited me to his wedding, right? Like this isn't somebody who's just bullshitting with me. And he told me that the Raiders tried to trade up with the Miami Dolphins, and Miami said no. Las Vegas is right now currently trying to get another first-round pick because they know that they are competing with Minnesota, and it sounds like Minnesota has been a very aggressive team trying to move up. They know what Gerard Mayo said. They know what a lot of other NFL teams value right now, and this would help them try to get a deal done to move up for Jayden, but it also is a fallback plan in case they can't trade up for Jayden, and then you can still try to get a guy like Michael Penix Jr. So according to my source, this was the trade that Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco offered the Miami Dolphins, and I need to say this again. This is what my source told me, but the Dolphins declined it. They already said no to it. So this was a swing and a miss by the Raiders. When you look at the trade value chart, it's still technically not enough to go up and get pick number 21. I can also understand Miami being like, well, we didn't even have a first-round pick last year, so I want a first-round pick this year. But essentially what it would have been was Dolphins get 44, 77, and 112. The Raiders get pick number 21. Las Vegas is preparing to do something. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but like it should not surprise anybody that these type of conversations are happening based on we know that AP wants a franchise quarterback, not a Band-Aid, somebody that they can have for the next 10 years. And I believe that they think it's Jayden Daniels or Michael Penix Jr. So if the Raiders are trying to get another first, this aligns with the Raiders doing everything that we have been talking about on this show. It aligns with everything that a lot of people have been talking about on the show. They want a franchise quarterback. They want to figure out how to get one. They're trying to accumulate more picks. And where there is smoke, there is fire, and I believe there is a lot of smoke right now around the Raiders trying to accumulate another first-round pick during the 2024 NFL Draft.